The Hebrew Bible, 5 books of Moses, Deuteronomy, chapter 3. And we turned and we went up on the way to the Bashan, and Og king of Bashan sallied forth to meet us in the battle, he and all his troops at Edrei. And the Lord said to me, Do not fear him, for into your hand I have given him and all his troops and his land, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, the Amorite king who dwells in Heshbon. And the Lord our God gave into our hand Og king of the Bashan too, and all his troops, and we struck him down until no remnant was left, and we captured all his towns. And to that time there was not a city that we did not take from them. 6 towns, all the district of Argob, the kingdom of Og in the Bashan. All these were fortified towns with high walls, double gates, and bold. Besides the very many open towns, and we put them under the man, and we had done to Sihon king of Heshbon, putting under the ban every town, men, folk, the women, and the little ones. But all the beasts and the booty of the towns we plundered for ourselves, and we took the land at the time from the hand of the 2 Amorite kings who were across the Jordan from the Wadi Arnon as far as the Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hermon Sirion, and the Amorites call it Senir. All the towns of the plateau, and all the Gilead, and all the Bashan, as far as Salcah and Edrei, the towns of the kingdom of Og in the Bashan. For only Og king of the Bashan remained from the rest of the Rephaim. Look, his bedstead, an iron bedstead, is it not in Rabbah of the Ammonites? 9 cubits its length, and 4 cubits its width, by the cubit of a man. And this land we took hold of that time from Aroer, which is on the Wadi Arnon, and half the high country of the Gilead and its towns. I give to the Reubenite and to the Gadite and the rest of the Gilead and all of the Bashan, the king of Og. I gave to the half tribe of Manasseh all the district of Argob. All of the Bashan is called land of the Rephaim. Jair, son of Manasseh, took all the district of Argob as far as the border of the Jeshurite and the Maccahites, and he called them the Bashan after his own name, Jair's hamlets until this day. And to Machir I gave the Gilead, and to the Reubenite and the Gadite I gave from the Gilead as far as Wadi Arnon, with the middle of the Wadi, the boundary as far as Wadi Jabuk, the boundary of the Amorites, Ammonites, and the Arabah with the Jordan, the boundary from Chinnereth as far as the Arabah Sea, the Dead Sea beneath the slopes of Pisgah to the east. And I charged you at that time, saying, The Lord your God has given you this land to take hold of it. As vanguard troops you shall cross over before your brothers the Israelites, all the warriors. Only your wives, your little ones, your livestock, I know you have much livestock, shall stay in your towns that I have given to you, until the Lord your God grants repose to your brothers as to you. And they too take hold of the land that the Lord your God is about to give to them across the Jordan. Then you may go back, each man to his inheritance that I have given to you. And I charged Joshua at that time, saying, Your own eyes has seen all that the Lord your God did to this guy. 2 things, kings. So shall the Lord do to all the kingdoms into which you are about to cross. You shall not fear them, for it is the Lord your God who does battle for you. And I pleaded with the Lord at that time, saying, My master, Lord, you yourself have begun to show you, your servant, your greatness and your strong hand. For what God is there in the heavens and on the earth, who could like your deeds and like your might? Let me pray across over that I may see the goodly land which is across the Jordan, this goodly high country, and the Lebanon. And the Lord was cross with me because you And he did not listen to me. And the Lord said to me, Enough for you. Do not speak more to me of this matter. Go up to the top of the Pisgah and raise your eyes to the west and to the north and to the south and to the east and see with your own eyes. For you shall not cross this Jordan. And charge Joshua and strengthen them and bid him take heart, for he shall cross ever before this people, and he shall give them an estate the land that you will see. And we stayed in the valley over against Beth Peor. Chapter 4. And now, Israel, hear the statutes and the laws that I am about to teach you to do, so you may live, and you shall come and take hold of the land that the Lord of your fathers is about to give you. You shall not add to the word that I charge you, and you shall not subtract from it, to keep the commands of the Lord your God which I charge you. Your own eyes have seen that which the Lord did at Baal Peor. For every man that went after Baal Peor did the Lord your God destroy from your midst. But the ones clinging to the Lord your God are all of you alive today. See, I have taught you the statutes and the laws as the Lord my God has charged me to do those within the land into which you are about to come and take hold of it. And you shall keep and do, for that is your wisdom, your understanding in the eyes of the peoples who will hear all these statutes and will say, only a wise and understanding people is this great nation. For what great nation is there that has gods close to it like the Lord our God whenever we call to him? And what great nation is there that has just statutes and laws like all this teaching that I am about to set before you today? Only be you on the watch, and watch yourself closely, lest you forget the things that your own eyes have seen, and lest they swerve from your heart all the days of your life, and you shall make them known to your sons and to your sons' sons, the day that you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when the Lord said to me, Assemble the people to me, that I may have them hear my words, so that they learn to fear me all the days that they live on the soil, and so that they teach their sons. You came forward and stood at the bottom of the mountain, and the mountain was burning with fire until the heart of the heavens, darkness, cloud, and dense fog. The Lord spoke to you from the midst of the fire, the sound of words. You did hear, but no image did you see except the sound. And he told you his covenant that he charged you to do, the 10 words, and he wrote them on the tables of stone. And me did the Lord charge at that time to teach you statutes and laws for you to do in the land into which you are crossing over, to take hold of it. And you shall be very watchful of yourselves, for you saw no image on the day the Lord spoke to you at Horeb from the midst of the fire, lest you act ruinously, and make you a sculpted image of any likeness, the form of male or of female, the form of any beast that is on the earth, the form of any winged bird that flies in the heavens, the form of anything that crawls on the ground, the form of any fish that is in the waters under the earth. Let you raise your eyes to the heavens and see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the array of the heavens. And you be led astray, and bow down to them and worship them, for the Lord your God allotted them to all the peoples under the heavens. But you did the Lord take, and he brought you out from the iron's forge from Egypt, to become for him a people in the estate at this day. The Lord was incensed with me because of your words, and he swore not to let me cross the Jordan, and not to let me come into the goodly land that the Lord your God is about to give you in estate. For I am about to die in this land. I am not to cross the Jordan, but you are to cross over, and you will take hold of this godly land. Be you on the watch, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he sealed with you, and your God has charged you. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. When you beget sons and sons of sons, and are long in the land, and act ruinously, and make a sculpted image of any sort, and do evil in the eyes of the Lord your God to anger him, I have called to witness against you the heavens and the earth, that you shall surely perish quickly from upon the land into which you are about to cross the Jordan to take hold of it. You shall not long endure upon it, for you will surely be destroyed. And the Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you shall be left, men few in number among the nations, where the Lord will drive you, and you shall worship their, their gods that are human handiwork, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. And you shall search for the Lord your God from there, and you shall find him when you seek him with all your heart and with all your being. When you are in straits and all these things find you in the time to come, you shall turn back to the Lord your God and heed his voice. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not let you go, and will not destroy you, and will not forget your fathers' covenant that he swore to them. For pray, ask of the first days that were before you, from the day God created the human on the earth, from the end of the heavens to the other end of the heavens. Has there been the like of this great thing, or has it like been heard? Has the people heard God's voice speaking from the midst of the fire, as you yourselves have heard and still live? Or has God tried to come to take him, a nation from within a nation, in trials and signs and portents, and in battle, and with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and with great terrors, like all that the Lord your God for you in Egypt did for you before your eyes? You yourself were shown to know that the Lord is God, there is no one besides him. From the heavens he had made you hear his voice to reprove you, and on the earth he showed you his great fire, and his words you heard from the midst of the fire. And since he did love your fathers, he chose their seed after them and brought you out from Egypt through his presence with his great power, to dispossess nations greater and mightier than you from before you, to bring you to give to you their land and estate, and on his day. And you shall know today and take you to your heart that the Lord, he is God in the heavens above, and on the earth below there is none else. And you shall keep his statutes and his commands, which I am about to charge you today, that he do well with you and with your sons after you, and so that you long endure on the soil that the Lord your God is about to give you for all time. Then did Moses divide of 3 towns across the Jordan, where the sun rises from a murderer, to flee there who murdered his fellow man without knowing, and he was not his enemy in time past, that he might flee to one of those towns and live Bezer in the wilderness in the land of the plain, for the Reubenite and Ramoth and Gilead, for the Gadite and Golan in the Bashan, for the Manassite. And this is the teaching that Moses set before the Israelites. These are the treaty terms and the statutes and the laws that Moses spoke to the Israelites when they came out from Egypt across the Jordan in the valley opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorite, whom Moses and the Israelites struck down when they came out from Egypt. And they took hold of his land, and the land of Og king of the Bashan, the 2 kings of the Amorite, who are across the Jordan, where the sun rises from Aroer, which is on the bank of the Wadi Arnon, as far as Sion, which is Hermon, and all the Arabah across the Jordan to the east, as far as the Arabah Sea at the foot of the Pisgah slopes. Chapter 5. And Moses called to all Israel and said to them, Hear, Israel, the statutes and the laws that I am about to speak in your hearing today, and you shall learn them and watch to do them. The Lord your God sealed the covenant with us at Horeb. Not with our fathers did the Lord seal his covenant, but with us, We who are here today, all of us alive, face to face, did the Lord speak with you on the mountain from the midst of the fire. I was standing between the Lord and you at the time to tell you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid in the face of the fire and did not go up to the mountain, saying, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slaves. You shall have no other gods beside me. You shall make you no carved likeness, no image of what is in the heavens above, or what is on the earth below, or what is in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not bow to them. You shall not worship them, for I am the Lord your God, a jealous God, reckoning the crime of fathers with sons, and with the third generation, and with the fourth for my foes, and doing kindness to the thousandth generation. For my friends and for those who keep my commands, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. For the Lord will not acquit whoever takes his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to hallow his as the Lord your God has charged you. 6 days you shall work and you shall do your task, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall do no task. And you, and your son, and your daughter, and your male slave, and your slave girl, and your ox, and your donkey, and your beasts, and your sojourner with it, who is within your gates, so that your male slave and your slave girl may rest like you. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out from the with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore did the Lord charge you to make the Sabbath day. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God charged you, so that your days may be long, and so that he may do well with you on the soil that the Lord your God has given you. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, and you shall not steal, and you shall not bear vain witness against your fellow man, and you shall not covet your fellow man's wife, and you shall not desire your fellow man's house, his field, or his male servant, or his slave girl, his ox, or his donkey, or anything that your fellow man has. These words did the Lord speak to your whole assembly at the mountain from the midst of the fire, the cloud, and the dense fog, in a great voice, and nothing more. And he wrote them on the 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. And it happened, when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness with a mountain burning in fire, that you came forward to me, and all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and you said, Look, the Lord our God has shown us his glory and his greatness. We have heard his voice from the midst of the fire. This day we have seen that the Lord can speak to man, and he may live. And now why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear again the voice of the Lord our God, we shall die. For who is mortal flesh that has heard the voice of the living God speaking from the midst of the fire, as we did, and has lived? You go near and hear all that the Lord our God has to say. You it is who will speak to us all that the Lord our God speaks to you, and we shall hear and do. And the Lord heard the sound of your words when you spoke to me, and Lord said to me, I have heard the sound of the words of this people which they spoke to you. They have done well in all that they have spoken. Would that they had this heart of theirs to fear me and to keep my commands for all time, so that it would go well with them and with their sons forever. Go say to them, return you to your tents, and you stand here by me, and I shall speak to you all the commands and all the statutes, that the laws you will teach them. They will do them in the land that I am about to give them to take hold of it. And you shall watch to do as the Lord your God has charged you. You shall not swerve to the right or left. In all the way that the Lord your God has charged you shall you go, so that you may live, and it will be well with you, and you will go long endure on the land of which you take hold.